Now, here is an early sneak peek at the preview for Season 2, Episode 14. Chen Ping'an, wielding Sword Mom, unleashed a sword strike approaching the 14th Realm, forcibly cleaving apart the Mount Sui that the Sage of Literature had visualized into his painting, and breaking through the grand protective array of the real Mount Sui. The 13th Realm god of Mount Sui came to settle the score with Chen Ping'an, only to be unexpectedly frightened by Sword Mom into backing down on the spot. Chen Ping'an is about to complete his mission of escorting the study tour group. After Sword Mom appeared alongside the old scholar, the Sage of Literature, and successfully saved Cui Dongshan from Chen Ping'an's hands, Sword Mom and her master Chen Ping'an were finally reunited. The two first chatted about the origins of the Lotus Leaf Umbrella, after which Sword Mom revealed the news of her arranged battle with the Sage of Literature. She told Chen Ping'an that she would soon restore her true form and strike with her sword alongside him 3 times inside the sage's picture scroll. However, upon learning that the old scholar before him was actually the 4th sage of Confucianism, the Sage of Literature, Chen Ping'an was unwilling to fight the old man, especially since the Sage of Literature was the teacher Qi Jingchun respected the most. But Sword Mom said that for Mr. Qi's sake, this fight had to happen. Hearing that it concerned Mr. Qi, Chen Ping'an had no choice but to trust Sword Mom and agree to the fight. Standing to the side, the Sage of Literature untied the knot of his landscape picture scroll and, with a flick of his wrist, drew the two of them into the painting. Sword Mom told Chen Ping'an that drawing their sword here would leave neither of them with any worries about the aftermath, and that Chen Ping'an would also temporarily possess the cultivation base of a 10th Realm Qi refiner. Pointing at Mount Sui within the scroll, Sword Mom asked Chen Ping'an, "If Mount Sui blocks your great Tao, what would you do?" Chen Ping'an's initial answer was to climb over it, but Sword Mom taught him that he should cleave the mountain open to forge his path. With that said, she transformed into an unsheathed long sword. Through grasping Sword Mom's true body, Chen Ping'an began to adapt to his 10th Realm cultivation. Meanwhile, to prepare a meeting gift for Chen Ping'an, the old scholar instructed him to retrieve 7 characters from the mountain cliff. These 7 characters formed a flying sword calligraphy left behind by an ancient sword immortal. This calligraphy could help sword practitioners comprehend the Tao of the sword. The more characters you could grasp, the higher your talent in swordsmanship. Anyone who could grasp 5 characters was destined to become a terrestrial sword immortal. However, after the 7 large characters circled Chen Ping'an once, not a single one was willing to approach him. But Chen Ping'an said he didn't want these characters anyway, because having Sword Mom by his side was already enough. Once Chen Ping'an completely adapted to the 10th Realm cultivation, he wielded the ancient sword blade and slashed at Mount Sui. Initially, the old scholar wanted to use his visualized Mount Sui to make Chen Ping'an and Sword Mom back down in the face of difficulty. After all, Mount Sui is located in the Middle-earth Divine Continent, the vastest of the 9 continents, and he didn't think Chen Ping'an could unleash much power. Yet, when Chen Ping'an struck down with the ancient sword blade, the attack carved a fissure into the sage's picture scroll and simultaneously cleaved apart the visualized Mount Sui. The most heaven-defying part was that this strike from Chen Ping'an and Sword Mom erupted with a power approaching the 14th Realm. Bypassed the old scholar's landscape scroll entirely and forcefully slashed into the real Mount Sui. The protective array of Mount Sui is incredibly formidable. Throughout the entire world, those who can break into it with just one person and one sword can be counted on one hand. The god of Mount Sui was severely startled at the time, because in a full 6,000 years, this was the very first time someone dared to provoke Mount Sui with a sword. Thus, he appeared within the picture scroll to investigate. He originally thought the attacker was the truly invincible Yu Do, or perhaps those few old sword cultivators from the Great Wall of Sword Qi. He never expected the attackers to be Chen Ping'an and Sword Mom. The god of Mount Sui originally wanted to settle the score, but upon recognizing Sword Mom's true identity, his anger vanished into thin air, because she was simply not someone he could afford to provoke. Through delivering this peak sword strike, Chen Ping'an completely passed out from exhaustion. To prepare an apprenticeship gift for Chen Ping'an, the old scholar even brazenly asked the god of Mount Sui for a sword embryo. Afterwards, the old scholar would present this sword embryo to Chen Ping'an, and after sitting down for a philosophical discussion with him and the others, Chen Ping'an would finally be on the verge of completing his mission to escort the study tour group.